Hello everybody, Zeidoktor here, and this episode of the Typical Manga Review is going to be dedicated to One Piece, Chapter 860, The Party Begins at 10. Or if you go by Zamini's box, 10 o'clock, opening of the banquet. Either way, same thing. And you'll see the official English one once it's available on the actual video, so it doesn't really matter either way. On the eastern bay of Whole Cake Island, turns out the Fishman pirates have Peckham's tied to a rock. Though they were nice enough to leave a water bottle next to him with a straw. Nice little touch there, actually. And it turns out that they're actually getting the hell out of Dodge. Like, what's going on? Does Mama know about this? It'd be a problem if she did. These deserters will be killed. That's Big Mom's maxim, right? Jinbei was grateful to you, but, you know, it's like... Jinbei, then we flash back to Jinbei. Hearing the story now from Peckham is a miracle in and of itself. I don't think assassinating Big Mom will succeed. To think that Mama indeed intended on assassinating Germa. If Luffy and his crew knew about this, they would definitely do some reckless thing in order to save Sanji. I can't let Luffy and his crew's lives become endangered. I'm going to lend them my help. In other words, I'm going to start a rebellion and betray Big Mom. I once thought it would be possible to use loyalty to leave formally, but I've given up on the thought because the numbers written on the roulette were the number of comrades who would be joining me as sacrifices. The compensation Big Mom wanted extended past the reins of my life. It was an absurd punishment. That's why I want you all to escape. On the day of the tea party, the hors d'oeuvre ships from every island will be escorting the guests. The territory will have less security if something happens at the tea party. Because obviously they need to kind of turn some of it down to let people through. Everyone will be preoccupied dealing with it. That'll be your chance to escape. And Aladdin's like, that's already been accounted for. We don't mind, but Jinbei, we want you to help you attain your freedom. I understand. You don't understand at all? Are you planning on dying? If, for example, I store you as one of the Straw Hats in the future, I will use this existence of mine to act as a shield and fight for my captain, Straw Hat Luffy. Aladdin, the only difference here is between now and later. Fine, do as you wish. But make sure that you prioritize your own life as well, got it? We'll be heading to Fishman Island with the ship. Then he kind of turns back to Jinbei. You're worried about you, aren't you? About Ryugu Kingdom? And Jinbei's like, I'm sorry. Oh, stop it. How many decades have we known each other for? Let us live and meet again, Jinbei. And then they're just getting out of there, leaving Peckham's tied up. And inside Whole Cake Chateau, they're wondering, Reizu's reunited with the family. They're wondering where she went. Like, you guys are making such a ruckus in the middle of the night, right? I obviously had to go find my own room. Like, and they pretty much like the venue is on the rooftop, and they're wondering if Sanji tried to escape, but no, both bride and groom are all prepared. That leaves Reizu wondering just what Sanji's planning to do when he already knows what's about to happen. And fireworks are going off. It's all starting. It's time for Mama's tea party. And we got another one of these little puns that's probably going to be different from version to version, so let's take a look at this one. Let's see here. Manga stream just says pig carriage. The Zamini's box has Kara Pig. I'll put down what Viz has when we get to it later. I know that the guy that does the translation there, Stephen Paul, definitely put some work into some of these. Like, we've got things like the Aristocroc. I forget what he did for the carriages that brought Germa to Whole Cake Chateau before, but I know there's like a pretty good one there. Anyway, the Carrot Pigs arrive. There's going to be big guests. And we get like a nice color spread, not color, but double page spread of a bunch of people arriving to the tea party. Get a mob boss looking guy, traditionally mob boss looking guy. The Lone Shark King, the God of Fortune Dufeld. A woman with like a flapper hat and short dress, like Red Light District Queen Stussy. Wonder if I would have meant to put an H in there, but you never know. The guy with a big old scythe and a freaky mask, the Great Undertaker Drug Peklo. I wonder what he does. The veteran warehouse businessman, the Gibberson is concealer. I can't quite tell through the text just what the letters are meant to be there. No, okay. Gibberson, the manga stream actually has the letters above the thing, so that works. Shipping magnate, deep ocean current Umit. He's got like a Orlumbus looking little costume there. And finally, the president of the World Economic Times, the newspaper that people get that has the German comic, Big News Morgans. who's also a big bird. And I mean that in the sense of the Sesame Street big bird. Like he's like a really big bipedal bird. Apparently he's the guy in charge of the birds that deliver the newspaper. At this point there, Sparrow is welcoming everybody. Welcome, Emperors of the Younger World. We might be a bit late, so if we try to go to the castle. So instead he uses his candy powers, creating a candy escalator. Everybody's like, ooh, awesome, all the onlookers. And they're all like, no matter how many times I see this, this candy work is art. Ah, thank you. Mama hates latecomers, you know. Let us hurry, you are all the last guests. And the stairs move on their own, because again, escalator. And he gives some candy to the kitties in the audience. And in 3 minutes you can lick the candy coaster too. Yay! Then right before the party hall, there's a guy giving Capone trouble about a body check. His Big Mom already signed. I received an invitation for the last party too, but I simply couldn't attend. I had to attend my mother's funeral, and that's what I wrote in my letter back to Big Mom. And do you know what she sent me? And then he gets shot, and there's actually a gun kind of flying out of his hand, it looks like. But as he kind of falls to the ground, we see a little, pretty much a jelly bean. And who shot that? Who? That's a guess, damn it. And then we see someone picking up. This is how the exchange would have went. Do you know what she sent me? The head of my father, who should have been in the hospital. I'm here to get the revenge. Open the gates. Then he'd have fired. Bang, bang. And 2 of your subordinates would have been shot dead. Oh, little side note here. The big door Capone is standing in front of, it's like it got a very shocked, like, female face on, like, ah! Anyway, this is going to be another one of those things where the translation gets weird, I'm sure. Because, Viz, I know, when they mentioned it before, calls this guy Katakuri, the, second son of the Charlotte family. So does Japanese Box. Manga Stream calls him Dogtooth, which is apparently Japanese, the name for a flower that is in Japanese Katakuri. In any case, though, few people that came up with Guts or like other sort of manga heroes for their reference this guy. Personally, and I can see it because he got like a big old biker motif going here. But the way he was predicting what people say, I'm thinking of Joseph's Joestar. And your next line shall be, before it comes to that, do you think it was wrong of me to throw the jelly beans, rook bays? And then, at that point, Katakuri says, before it comes to that, do you think it was wrong of me to throw the jelly beans, rook bays? Wait. Okay, anyway. Report to Mama that it was my judgment, and you will say, fine, I understand. Fine, I understand. And Capone thinking to himself, that's the most troublesome one at the venue is this guy. He's got over a 1 million berry bounty, and it actually says 1,057,000,000. Over 1 billion bounty monster has trained his observation hockey to such a point where he can see slightly into the future. And this is then where the doors open and everybody actually are starting to come in properly. The place looks delicious as usual, one of the guests says. Smoothie is offering drinks for the guests. And today's, let's see here. Yep. And she's actually using her powers to supply the drinks. Like we have lava from the Maui volcano, which apparently seems to be the rock tied on a string next to her. A beautiful maiden that stands 100 men, which is a woman standing right next to the, being hung and tied up right next to the rock. And a giraffe that cries strangely. And when one of the people asks for a glass of giraffe, it's like, alright, we'll bring that out for you. And she actually like wrings him out, gets some liquid in the glass, and passes it over. Like, holy Toriko, Batman. Sheesh. And then right around here is where Big Mom makes her grand entrance. She's like, pops up, like, thanks everyone coming from near and far. Look to your right, to your left. Everything you see is a sweet treat. Eat and drink to your heart's content. Be sure to enjoy everything that happens here today. And as she's doing all this, we see Sanji kind of like looking gloom and doom in the corner there. And that is where the chapter ends. And let me tell you right now, this is pretty fun chapter in a lot of ways. Because you can see like a whole bunch of new characters, a whole bunch of new designs. It got a lot of color spreads, which I think was kind of partly padding things out, but still, there you are. And we are pretty much right now at the tea party. I'm going to be using Katakuri for the guy's name until someone gives us a reason to do otherwise. But yeah, I'm going like I said. My thought went to Joseph's Joestar because how he predicts everybody's speech, and then points out that like it's his observation hockey trained to such a crazy extent. So the question to me now is, where's the, partly because we had this whole recent thing with Night Eye in academia, what is the extent of that perception? Like, how far can he see ahead? Like, what can he see? Can he only see what people will do? Can he see what random things will be occurring? Will someone inherently as unpredictable as Luffy be able to throw a wrench into his plans? Tough to say. But at the very least, it seems like it's only for a very few brief moments that he can see ahead. So we'll see how that goes. One odd thing I was noticing, because I follow this threads here and there, like on Arlong Park, for example. I think it was Arlong Park. I remember it was Arlong. Yeah, it was Arlong Park. Because I don't think it really brought up on the TV tropes when I follow. People seem really eager for Jinbei to die. It's like, what? I mean, they do kind of set it up here with Jinbei, like, being ready to throw his life away for Luffy's sake. That's kind of how he rolls, I guess. But still, I mean, all of this, and it's like, people are like cheering it on. Like, they were wondering, oh, how's it going to happen? It's going to be this, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. Just make sure he dies already. It's weird. I don't know. And it looks like Praline is part of it, unless you kind of pull some kind of last-second betrayal on them. I don't know. Or maybe they'll come back anyway and do some last-second rescue for the Straw Hats. Still, it looks like, for the moment at least, Peckhams isn't going to be a threat to the Tea Party, because he's actually stuck tied to a rock with a drink. At least he's not being left without sustenance. And you got all these guys that are kind of popping in here with the Underworld, all those guys that we got introduced to earlier. And for a lot of reasons, I'm sure a lot of people are going to hook onto Morgans, the bird, the guy who apparently runs the newspaper. Not know what to make of him just yet. Is he just like a bird zone who likes to stay in his bird form? A bird with a version of the human fruit? That one seems unlikely because that's still pretty much Chopper. But we know from Sengoku that there are variations of it. Is there some unknown race we haven't seen yet? Because he's not a mink, because minks are strictly mammalian mammals. I mean, that's how I knew, for example, I think that Aristocroc was a homie. But he does mention also that them and Germa go way back, so it's possible he has a hand in increasing that little comic strip that they do to talk about. There's a few little jokes and puns here I'll probably be elaborating on when we get to them in official English. We also get Pale Sparrow like just creating a big old candy staircase. Saw a couple of people wondering how that worked, but like to me it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty much that Pale Sparrow is the candy version of Mr. 3 or Magellan. Actually, kind of a funny thought I had about that. You know how they had this whole thing with Magellan constantly eating poison. Then we have Pale Sparrow who's always licking on candy. What about guys like say Mr. 3 or Treble who are like wax and snot? Like is Mr. 3 like the kid in class who always ate all the crayons? Oh boy. Just like a silly little thought I had from that one. This one is definitely a transition chapter because we are literally getting everybody to the Tea Party at this point. We've got Aladdin there, kind of like making their way to get the hell out of there. And I like the added touch that they're going to Fish My Line because they know Jinbei's going to be worried about it after all this is done. And I don't know if this quite confirms with what I thought the wheel was, but apparently the and the numbers written on there, yeah, I've been looking at the manga stream first now. The numbers written there, each represents the number of crew members that would be sacrificed with me, should that number be chosen. Yeah, that's pretty much the thing. She wanted a settlement that was more than just his life, and Jimmy was not going to put up with that, which was kind of what I thought, because I thought the numbers were the amount of lifespans she would take, and then she would take the remainder from any other crew members. But that's not quite what worked out there. I'm not quite sure what we're going with, but still, like I said, don't know if they'll be factoring into anything else later or if they're done for the arc because they're getting the hell out of there. But at the very least, they've got that put away for now. Now I'm wondering just where everybody else is because obviously Big Mom still doesn't know that Nami and them escaped, otherwise he wouldn't be so cheerful. And that's going to be kind of a big thing when everything starts popping up. let's see. Got some nice little background stuff with some of the homies here and there, like the doors, like the door from Baze, and then there's like a door with Big Mom or something like. I guess it's Skullgo 13 is what the reference might be, but it makes me think of Excel Saga, the little cutesy aliens that get these weird faces when you punch them. Like the Poochu. Maybe I'll find a picture of them. I can put it up on here while I'm doing it. I don't know. Alright, so I think that covers the nuts and bolts of what I can think of to cover for this chapter. I'll be honest, I think I need to get a little better about making notes for these things. Because, like, I don't know, maybe it's just because it's week to week. Maybe if I spread it out a bit, whatever. Anyway, that has been the typical manga review of One Piece, chapter 860. 10 a.m. the tea party starts, or whatever variation we wind up with. Until next week, have a good time, and bye-bye.